Hi, folks, and welcome back to another episode of our podcast, When I Became a Gator. I'm your host, Phillip Cheng, and our podcast focuses on the stories of alumni across the country in the hopes of bringing closer the Gator Nation, one alumni at a time. Tonight, we have a special guest, Vanessa Kwong. Vanessa, welcome to the show.
Yeah, I'm super excited. You sound so professional. It's like you've done this so many times.
Thank you. I guess after a few episodes, you kind of get a feel for it. And so, we go back a very long time. But for our listeners, could you talk a little bit about yourself, where you're from, what you studied, and maybe some of the things that you did after you graduated?
Yeah. Okay. So I'll go all the way back, but I'll keep it short. I was born and raised in Hong Kong. I immigrated to Florida when I was 7, just kind of stayed throughout. Obviously went to the University of Florida, and I studied finance, which wasn't my first choice, but it was still, it was a good career choice because I did actually go into finance. Right after school, finance and consulting. I worked at Accenture, KPMG, and right after that at PFM, which is a public finance firm. And then one day I woke up and said, I don't want to do finance anymore. And I worked in food delivery for about 3.5 years before going to business school. And after business school, which is now, I am the chief of staff at Box, a cloud storage company. All of that sounds really boring, but we're old.
So when you say food delivery, that means?
That means your Uber Eats and Caviar and DoorDashes of the world. So I worked at Caviar as one of their first employees, which was really fun. I also gained 15 pounds there, which was not fun. So for any folks that wants to work in food delivery, that not freshman 15, but food delivery 15 is real.
And then you said you went to business school. Where did you complete business school?
Yeah, so I was in Philadelphia at UPenn at the Wharton School. It sounds so pretentious saying the Wharton School. I went to Wharton. And I graduated in May 2019, which feels like a lifetime ago because 2020 is it's just very, very long. It's been like 5 years.
Yes. So congratulations on that, on the graduating from business school and surviving 2020. We did it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's still like 9 days left. Let's see.
That is true. We're almost there. Let's keep our fingers crossed.
I can't wait to see you when you're back.
Yes, I'm excited to be back in the Bay Area. So Vanessa, part of our show is really to dig deep about a time period or a moment where you felt most connected to the university or most proud at the University of Florida. What kind of moment did you have, or when was that for you?
Yeah. Okay. So I was thinking about this question, and I'm going to share more than one moment, but they're related. And I think before I share it, it's about what organizations I was a part of at UF. So I was a part of Alpha Kappa Delta Phi, Asian Interest Sorority as well, very involved with ASU. Those who are watching probably knows what that is. And so I, coming in as a freshman, had held a lot of leadership roles in high school, and I didn't know if that's what I wanted to do again in college. And I remember going to AASA in 2006, which is a long time ago. And on stage, I remember seeing Dennis Nin, who was the president at the time for ASU, who was also just created FLP as a co-director. And I just remembered, I saw him, he was super eloquent. He had come on after like 10 performances, welcomed the whole school. And I just remember, I was like, I'm going to be him. I'm going to be him in my senior year. And so I think one of my proudest moments was kind of working my way up in ASU to take that role with Phillip as co-president, which is why we're such good friends, is because, I had the opportunity and the chance to kind of set a goal in freshman year and then achieve it and actually making one of my best friends along the way. And so that's the first one. The second one really quickly was just founding AKD-Phi as another option for anyone that's interested at the school. At the time, there was only one Asian sorority. And I thought it was really important that women have the choice to do what they wanted. And I mean, long story short, we founded it and it was great. And it's like one of the best experiences and proudest moments ever.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely really enjoyed doing ASU with you as well. And for our listeners, ASU stands for the Asian American Student Union. And what we refer to as AASA stands for the Asian American Student Assembly that happens every August during the weeks of welcome that UF puts on for basically all of the incoming students. And I think you had one more acronym in there, which was FLP, the Freshman Leadership Program, which I think they might have renamed to the First Year Leadership Program now. But we'll leave that for the listeners to comment. Just taking all of your experiences at UF, what's something that you can say helped you in your life after UF, like skills or things that you picked up that you used throughout after graduation?
Yeah. I think a skill, I can't really pinpoint a skill, but I can pinpoint the relationships that I had at school as having that to actually learn higher EQ to interact with my coworkers, with people at business school, in professional settings. Because in college, it's a time for you to really fail hard and learn fast, right? So just actually meeting so many different types of people at UF allowed me to actually take that experience and translate it in a way that I could interact with those types of people in the professional world. And I say that specifically because UF is a big place and you could get lost really, really fast. But I think being at that school, being in AASU, Asian American Student Union, and AKD-Phi really, really like helped me solidify some of the both leadership and interpersonal skills that while those listeners who might still be in college might not realize you're actually honing, but you really are. And I would encourage you to continue building on those relationships because they're super, super important, later on and just even right now as you're in school.
Absolutely. It's a lot of the soft skills, right, if you will, that you pick up during working in student organizations and stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if you remember, Phillip, negotiation skills is very important as well. When we negotiated, I think it was like 195% increase for our Asian American Student Assembly. We went from like the dingy rights union ballroom to actually, the
Phillip
Performance Center.
Right.
Yeah, the Phillip Center, which held, I think, like 4 times the amount of people, maybe more. I can't quite remember, but I just remember we demanded and negotiated that we needed this space because we're growing as as an organization, as a community. And I think that is probably one of my proudest moments as well that I didn't get to share. But you remember how it was. It was so exciting.
Yeah, that was an exciting moment. Thank you for bringing that up. It was just the need for more space so that more people could attend the student assembly. Because if you remember, there were lines outside of the ballroom trying to get in to watch the assembly, but they couldn't get in. And so we just knew that the impact that the Asian American community had been making for the last couple of years was growing so much that we just needed a larger space. And so I remember we packed one of the SG budget meetings to be able to say, well, we have lots of members, as you can see, and we have lots of photographs and evidence that, we are really outgrowing the ballroom. So that's why they should fund the Phillip Center. Yeah, that was a great moment.
Yeah. And that's very applicable to, life after college. There's going to be moments where you need to negotiate and ask for what you need. Like if anyone becomes like a VC or like an entrepreneur, literally that was pitching what you needed. and so, I just remember that it was, this is such a great interview actually, because it's bringing back such good memories.
As we sort of near the end of the episode tonight, were there people that people or places on campus, off campus, in your college experience that were really influential that you want to give a shout out to?
Yeah. I mean, influential to my life, maybe not in the grand scheme of things. So I actually adopted all three of my dogs in college. And I think that's actually really important to have companionship when you have had a really long day at school. And then, as you start work, just a very long day at work. So I would like to shout that out. I think the Phillip Center was also just what we talked about, right? That was actually really important. The Rights Union, when we had our first AASA. People in general, it would have been you, but you're already doing the podcast. So I'm glad that the listeners are getting to know you as well. All of the people that you have interviewed before, like Bowie and Whitney, that I hope you get to interview, a lot of, leaders within and outside of the ASU org. There's people who have just also, what I've also realized as I was listening to the podcast are healthcare workers that, as I'm looking through my Instagram, a lot of our classmates are getting the COVID vaccine and just doing really great work out there. I think we should maybe, talk to some of those people like Michelle, Monica, Tiffany, and all them. But yeah, there's a lot of people to shout out at, but I don't think I have the time to do that.
Yes. Thank you to all of our healthcare workers out there who are on the front lines fighting COVID. We hope and we pray that they're safe and their families continue to be safe, and that hopefully one day this will all be a distant memory.
Yeah, and that we can do this in person.
In real life. IRL is what the young kids say nowadays, right?
On TikTok.
Well, thank you so much for being on our show tonight, Vanessa.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
If you'd like to be on our show, please email us at ufasianalumni@gmail.com or reach out to us on social media. Thanks, and go Gators.
Yes, go Gators. See ya.